It's crazy, like, the things you hear when you just shut off all, like, outside noises.
Like, it's crazy when everything is off and you actually hear dogs bark and cars, like, pass by. You're like, oh, shit, there's, like, a whole world out there. But, of course, like, anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay.
And I'm going to do an interview with myself. This interview is going to be me kind of backtracking and asking myself, how did I get here? Essentially, who am I? And one question a really good friend brought up, what is my why? Why am I doing these videos? Why did I create this channel? So if you guys are chismosas and chismosos, like, you guys can totally keep watching. If you guys aren't, that's super awesome. You know, go do what you gotta do. This is gonna be interesting. My name is Bianca Youngblood. I just turned 25 years old.
Just had to take that in.
This is going to be a phenomenal year, and I can feel it. So anyways, I was born in El Paso, Texas. My earlier childhood consists of me running wild in the desert with my cousins. And we were like living in the wild, wild west. Like, what rules? My parents weren't around. Our parents weren't around. So we loved going over there and kind of just like exploring the desert, saving dogs. There were so many dogs at that house. Mostly exploring the desert, playing hide and go seek in the dark. Really, that's like a moment where I feel like my imagination was at its freest. We were essentially free from parents, from school, from having to look both ways before you cross the road. We were just free to kind of do whatever we wanted without having to constantly be told what to do. My mama didn't let us get in trouble. Not that she knows the kind of trouble we got in, she does now, but it was a really good time. My story is not better or worse than anybody's story. A lot of us have a similar story. But I remember when I was 10 years old, I was actually 9 years old, my parents split up, and I think that's when my life really changed, because I didn't know how to process what was going on. And I had a new life so fast, and I had to adjust to that really quick without having any answers. I really didn't even know what to ask. I think I shut down emotionally because it felt like childhood was being taken away. And in many ways it did. And my mom would do whatever she could to make sure we were happy and fed. And like, I remember going out to eat once a week, usually at Carino's. But she did what she had to do, and I learned so much from her throughout the years. This is not a sob story. Like, I'm not trying to make you guys sad. I'm kind of just backtracking, remembering, reminiscing, calling back to the me that I was when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, up until I was about 20. And from 10 until I was probably 20, for 10 years, I struggled with who I am, who I was. I did not know, because my life had to change so quickly. I was being influenced by the emotions that were going on in my family, the peer pressure that was going on from friends in elementary school, middle school, high school. I'll save those for a different time, when we dive into like the influences of school, childhood, friends, family. But I think I had a sense of who I was, but I didn't know how to express that. I didn't know how to communicate that without thinking, oh, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. But really, I don't think I ever really stopped to ask myself, to reevaluate and remember who I was until I was 21 years old. When I was 21, I remember I was actually sitting on Scenic Drive. I was reevaluating everything that had happened in my life. And I remember I was crying, not because I was sad, but because I feel like I had released so much in me that I was holding on to. And that was the beginning of my spiritual awakening. You guys can have your own definitions. I have my own definition. But that was the beginning of me asking myself, who am I? Who do I want to be? And why do I want to be that person? And the first thing that I did was start making jewelry again. But I started making jewelry when I was very young with my grandma, and she taught me the basics of making jewelry. And then when I got that call to my higher self, I began to make jewelry. And making jewelry for me was a tangible way to express who I was in this form that I put so much meaning and intention and emotion into. And it was me taking everything inside of me and just throwing it out into the world. None of it was ever like regret or fear or shame. It was me working through that. And the expression of that jewelry was me releasing something that kept holding me back. Every piece that I created was me building myself and recreating myself and giving that out to the world, giving it out to the universe. I've never said that. And now, here I am. I am 25 years old. And I don't think I've ever smiled this much saying how old I am, because it took me 25 years to discover who I am. I don't have 100% of the answers. I have 25% of the answers. And I almost feel unstoppable. Not in the sense of like that macho
entrepreneur, you gotta sleep when you're dead.
Like, that's not what I mean by unstoppable. By unstoppable, I mean that I am aligned with my purpose. And as long as I keep asking myself these questions, I will keep being on that path. Anyways, so what is my why? Yo, shout out to Apple. I thought my phone was dying. It popped up like low battery, 10%, but it was still recording. Whoever came up with that in the tech team of Apple iPhone, I applaud you. Thank you so much, because I was about to cry because I said some deep shit. Anyways, what is my why? When I was 18 years old, I went into college to study vocal performance. It was a interesting experience. I love singing and I love music, and I love the love that people have for music and the people that are majoring in that. I applaud you, because that is hard shit. Don't ever let anybody tell you that majoring in music is easy, or majoring in the arts in general is easy. It is not easy. I remember I took a sociology class, and that sociology class helped me articulate the questions I was already asking in high school, except this gave me a bigger sense of why I act the way I act in school, at work, in my family, in public, in different settings. Sociology woke me up to why I was acting the way I acted from before I was even born to that time I took the class. I failed that class. It was so interesting. I failed that class. I was going through a lot of emotional, mental, not issues. They weren't issues. I was just uncertain. I was uncertain and unsure of what I wanted to do. But it opened my eyes to a world that I didn't see. It changed my perspective on life. Right now, I'm in school. I'm doing my basics, but I'm doing my basics, but I will be getting my bachelor's in sociology and my master's in social work, community organizing. See how 100% sure I was about that? And I'm also volunteering at the Paso Child Guidance Center. It's a nonprofit geared toward helping the youth and families with mental health trauma. Because it makes me happy. I know I didn't look happy when I said that, but because this is important. So many of us are being influenced by the most destructive things that many people have seen in their lifetime. There are so many influences in our life that either help us grow or destroy us. And I think one question you should ask yourself is, how am I going to let these influences navigate my life? Or are you going to figure out how these influence your life and navigate it yourself? I'm going to tell you guys my stories, my experiences, and what I know, and other people's experiences and what they know. They'll be speaking for themselves. And we're going to break down these influences in our lives. And I want you guys to be able to ask yourself, how did I find myself here? And what is my why? And if those influences in your life are bringing you to a why that is, or a how that is a destructive, find influences that help you grow. So you can be realigned with who you are, not with who somebody else is telling you who to be. I want you to figure out who you are. So thank you for watching if you did. This is not going to be for everybody. This is going to be for the person who wants to figure out who they are. Who are you? Can you answer that question? And if you can't, that's okay. You don't have to know the answer to the question. But let's get those wheels rolling. That was lame. But let's do it. Let's talk about it. And yeah. Thank you. If you guys found this interesting, if you didn't, it's okay. But if you please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I will be uploading every Tuesday, and we will dive deep into different topics, always surrounded by navigating life, by learning about the influences of your environment. Thank you.